Stop everything right now. I'm serious. These top 3 wheat pennies are not just old coins. They are silent money bombs hiding in plain sight. Most people already spent them, cleaned them, or threw them away without ever realizing what they destroyed. They look ordinary. That's the trap. These pennies blend in with junk change, while collectors quietly hunt untouched examples worth tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. One careless move, polishing, rolling, or spending, can erase life-changing value forever. Right now, these coins are still hiding in drawers, jars, inherited collections, and old boxes. If you find a wheat penny, do not clean it. Do not spend it. Look closely at the date, the surface, the condition. Survival is everything. Because the worst feeling isn't missing out on money. It's realizing you already destroyed a fortune without knowing it. Stop. Don't scroll. Don't blink. The 1943 D Steel penny is not normal money. It's one of the most misunderstood coins ever made, and that misunderstanding has already destroyed enormous value. Millions of people have held this coin in their hands and treated it like junk. Dropped it, cleaned it, let it rust, spent it, threw it away, and every one of those actions quietly erased real money forever. In 1943, copper was needed for the war, ammunition, wiring, military equipment. So the U.S. Mint did something drastic. It stopped using copper and struck pennies on zinc-coated steel. The Denver Mint produced its share, and those coins entered circulation fast, rough, and unprotected. Steel was never meant to survive pockets, moisture, or time. That's where the nightmare begins. Steel pennies don't age gracefully. The moment the thin zinc coating wears down, the steel underneath starts to rust. And once rust begins, there is no reversing it. No cleaning it away. No fixing it. Rust is death to value. Absolute death. Most 1943 D Steel pennies didn't survive because people treated them like copper cents. They carried them loose. They got them wet. They stored them in jars. They ignored them. Collectors don't chase the 1943 D Steel penny because it's old. They chase it because true survivors are rare. Coins with full original zinc coating. No rust. No corrosion. No cleaning. No damage. Those are the coins that cause auction rooms to go quiet and bidding to jump hard and fast. And here's where regret comes in. For decades, people tried to improve these coins. They polished them to make them shiny. They scrubbed off stains. They cleaned rust spots. Every one of those attempts destroyed originality. And in coin collecting, originality is everything. A clean steel penny may look better to the untrained eye, but to collectors it's ruined. Completely. The scariest part is that most people don't even realize when they make the mistake. They think they're helping the coin. They think they're preserving it. In reality, they're erasing thousands of dollars in potential value with a cloth, a brush, or a chemical dip. The 1943 D Steel penny punishes ignorance instantly. Condition is ruthless. A rusted example is common and nearly worthless. A cleaned example loses collector trust. But a fully original, sharply struck, untouched steel penny with clean surfaces and strong detail, that's where the money lives. That's where serious collectors compete. And those coins are disappearing. Every year, more steel pennies corrode. More are mishandled. More are lost. More are destroyed by moisture, air, and human error. Survival is the entire story. Not the date alone. Not the mint mark alone. Survival. You might think, steel pennies are everywhere. That's the illusion. What's everywhere are damaged ones, rusted ones, cleaned ones. The survivors are rare, and they're getting rarer. Imagine this scenario. Someone finds a small envelope in a drawer. Inside are a few old coins, including a gray 1943 D penny. They touch it with bare fingers. They set it on a table. Moisture transfers. Microscopic damage begins. Or worse, they decide to clean it just a little. In that moment, a high-grade survivor is downgraded permanently, and no one screams. No alarm goes off. The money just vanishes. Collectors pay for restraint, for the coins that were left alone, for the steel pennies that somehow avoided rust, cleaning, and careless handling for more than 80 years. Those coins are miracles. If you ever see a 1943 D steel penny, the rules are simple and unforgiving. Do not clean it. Do not polish it. Do not test it with chemicals. Do not store it loose. Do not assume it's worthless just because it's gray. Look at the surfaces. Look for rust. Look for original texture. Look for sharp detail. The difference between a few cents and serious money can be invisible to untrained eyes. This coin teaches one brutal lesson. You don't lose money when you don't know what you have. You lose money when you destroy it. Millions already have. The 1943 D steel penny is not forgiving. It doesn't give second chances. Once originality is gone, it's gone forever. That's why collectors fear clean examples and fight over untouched ones. So if you ever come across one, slow down. Treat it like it matters. Because for the few that survived unscarred, it does. And the worst regret isn't realizing a coin is valuable. The worst regret is realizing you were the one who ruined it. Stop for a moment and really think about this. The 1919 Lincoln Wheat Penny is one of those coins people overlook so easily that its value is destroyed before anyone even realizes it mattered. At first glance, it looks ordinary. Old, yes, but ordinary. And that assumption is exactly why so many of these pennies never survived. They were spent, dropped, cleaned, polished, rolled, and forgotten. Every one of those actions quietly erased value that can never come back. The truth is, the 1919 Wheat Penny comes from a time when coins were made to be used hard. Most examples entered circulation immediately. They were carried daily, exposed to moisture, friction, and careless handling. Decades passed, and survival became the real rarity. Collectors don't chase this coin just because it's old. They chase it because high-condition survivors are scarce. Original surfaces, sharp wheat lines, clear lettering, and untouched color matter more than anything else. Most people don't realize that cleaning an old penny, even gently, can destroy the very thing collectors pay for. And that's where regret enters the story. For generations, people tried to make old pennies look better. They polished them. They scrubbed them. They wiped away dirt and age. What they didn't know was that they were wiping away history and value at the same time. A clean 1919 wheat penny might shine, but to a collector, it's damaged forever. The real value lives in restraint. An untouched 1919 wheat penny that survived decades without being cleaned, polished, or heavily worn is something collectors respect. These coins are judged by surface quality, strike strength, and originality. The difference between an average coin and a valuable one can come down to a single careless moment from decades ago. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Many people already destroyed these coins without knowing it. They spent them for face value. They tossed them into jars. They cleaned them out of curiosity. And the money vanished silently. Even today, 1919 wheat pennies still turn up in old collections, drawers, and inherited boxes. Most are heavily worn. Some are damaged. But every so often, a survivor appears. And when it does, collectors notice immediately. That's why this coin matters. Not because every 1919 penny is valuable, but because the ones that survived untouched are increasingly rare. Time doesn't create value by itself. Survival does. If you ever come across a 1919 wheat penny, the most important thing you can do is nothing. Don't clean it. Don't polish it. Don't assume it's worthless. Look at the details. Look at the surfaces. Let the coin speak for itself. Because the worst mistake isn't missing out on value. The worst mistake is destroying it before you ever knew it was there. And for the 1919 Lincoln Wheat Penny, that mistake has already happened more times than anyone can count. Take a second and really look at it. The 1942 Lincoln Wheat Penny doesn't demand attention. It doesn't shine. It doesn't look rare. And that's exactly why so much value connected to this coin has already disappeared. When these pennies were struck, the world was in the middle of global war. Money moved fast. Coins were used hard and often. No one was setting pennies aside for the future. They were tools, not collectibles. The 1942 wheat penny went straight into circulation and stayed there, grinding through pockets, tills, and hand for years. That long, hard circulation is what makes conditions so important today. Collectors aren't impressed by age alone. They care about how a coin survived. Most 1942 wheat pennies show heavy wear, dull surfaces, flattened details, or signs of old cleaning. Many were polished decades ago by people who believed they were preserving them. In reality, they were erasing the very surface collectors pay for. Once a wheat penny is cleaned, there's no going back. The original texture is gone forever. That's why untouched examples matter so much. A 1942 penny with original color, strong wheat lines, and sharp lettering immediately stand apart. These coins weren't saved on purpose. They survived by accident, forgotten in drawers, tucked away in envelopes, or lost in collections that went untouched for decades. And those accidents are rare. Even coins that avoided circulation often suffered from poor storage. Moisture, friction, and contact with other coins quietly damaged surfaces over time. That's why truly original 1942 wheat pennies are harder to find than most people realize. They're not loud. They don't advertise their value. You have to know what you're looking at. One of the biggest mistakes people still make is assuming quantity equals worthlessness. Yes, many 1942 pennies were minted, but most of them did not survive well. Survival is the filter that creates value. Each year, fewer high-quality examples remain, and collectors know it. This is where regret enters the story. For generations, people spent these pennies without thinking. They rolled them, cleaned them, tossed them into jars, and passed them along. Some even tried to make them look new, permanently damaging them in the process. And none of those people knew what they were doing at the time. The loss was silent. If you ever find a 1942 wheat penny, the most important decision is restraint. Don't clean it. Don't polish it. Don't assume it's common. Look at the surfaces. Look at the detail. Let the coin tell its story. Because the value of this penny isn't about hype. It's about survival through decades of use, neglect, and misunderstanding. Most didn't make it. A few did. And the difference between those two outcomes is often just one careless moment that can never be undone.